Okay, yeah, I started 46 seconds ago.
Oh, great. See how he is?
On mine.
Okay, so this is Katie Kidman with Auditing Live, our new show on YouTube, and we're interviewing Nasty Nathaniel today.
Wait a minute, I thought we were interviewing Stevie Nicks.
Oh, she'll be here later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's what I came for.
She knew you were coming, and we have to interview you first. So she said she'd wait.
She's backstage.
So we're interviewing Nasty Nathaniel. He's a legend on the Central Coast. He's one of the first auditors that ever started doing First Amendment audits, and a very big inspiration to me. So Matthew the King and I will be interviewing him right now for you live on Auditing Live, so you get to know him a little better. So, alrighty, let's get into it. So, Nasty Nathaniel, who inspired you to get into this auditing
You, Katie.
business? Oh, well.
It was all you.
You came.
Well, besides you?
Yes.
I got inspired to do this. Well, it kind of goes back a little bit deeper. I feel like I got a fly in my face.
No, there's not.
I actually, it's probably something else, something more sinister than a fly. But anyways, we'll talk about that later. I was actually, this goes back, I'd say probably like 2009, 2010. I was still living in Honolulu, Hawaii. And I got a part in a local television show that was broadcasted on the Pacific Network. And I give them a shout out. And the show was called Shaka Shakedown. Please don't look it up because it was a corny show and it was canceled after one season. But anyways, and I was a part of what was called the No Act Crew, which was like a comedy group. It was like me and 4 other people, and we would do like comedic sketches and stunts, and it was kind of like a milder version of Jackass. You know, you imagine Jackass,
Okay.
kind of like Hawaiian version. But anyway, so we would go out and we would film, because we had our own YouTube channel, and we would film these skits that were going to be broadcasted on the show Shaka Shakedown, which was supposed to like showcase Hawaii's talent.
Mm-hmm.
And there would always be some, what we call Darren or Karen, or some security guard that would be like, you can't film here, no, go across the street, go stand over there, or get off the beach, and I remember even back then, and like I said, this is like 2009, 2010, thinking, is that a law? Like, can you tell someone they can't shoot a video in front of your store? I mean, you're on a sidewalk, So even back then I was questioning it. And then fast forward and, like rewind the cassette tape or fast forward the cassette tape. And I remember I was on YouTube searching like police stops gone wrong, like police dash cam videos.
Okay.
And I came across a video from a channel called First Amendment Test, who to me is like the godfather of auditing, not other people who claim to be the godfather, but First Amendment Test. And he was filming in front of a Chevron refinery in Richmond, California, which is up in the Bay Area. And the security guard came out and got all up in his face and was giving him a hard time, really giving him a lot of pushback. But he stood his ground. And he's like, no, I'm on a public sidewalk. I can take all the pictures I want. And finally, I don't want to give away the video, but you can go to his channel and check it out, but if you want. But that was really what inspired me. And then through his channel, I discovered other channels like California Guardian. He was another one that really inspired me. And that's how I discovered this whole movement of First Amendment audits. Right. And I'm like, I want to try that, And in this area, the Central Coast, Santa Barbara County, San Luis Obispo County, there were no auditors. There were no cop watchers. There was no slow observer. There was no 805 cop watch. There was no Katie Kidman, you
right.
came later,
Yeah.
Thank God. But, so I was like, this was like virgin territory. And I'm like, I want to do that here because I felt that the police in this area needed to be educated and needed to learn and needed to be tested as to our right to be able to record in public.
And they do.
Yeah, so that was a long-winded answer. Time for a sip of the margarita.
You're right about that, though.
As I like to remind our guests, please keep your answers concise. We really appreciate it on Auditing Live.
Thank you, Matthew the King. Who do you think is the best auditor out there? Well, besides me, of course. Right now, today, out in the, just overall country.
You mean who's on?
Let's not just focus on California. Let's just say, all over the United States, who would you consider one of the best auditors out there?
Oh, who's on the scene right now?
Yeah, besides me, like I said.
Oh, Denver Metro Audits, definitely.
Oh, really?
Oh, he's a genius.
Oh, that quick?
Oh, absolutely. I've met Denver Metro Audits. I've spent time with him. I've drank margaritas with him.
Oh, really?
I've audited with him. He is by far the best auditor on the scene right now.
Cool.
He's definitely a lot better than that Katie Kid. Oh, hey, Katie, didn't see
That's
you. So how
right.
you doing? Didn't
That's
see you. No, I'm
fine.
just kidding. But seriously, Denver Metro Audits is, it's like the Batman. We'll have to edit that. But no, he's my favorite auditor on the scene right now. He's doing great work. I think he is definitely the top auditor.
Okay, so you're really known for your signature look and your style, and your narrative style. We love your authenticity and your. I mean, you were an inspiration to me, honestly. So how did it come to be? This whole Nasty Nathaniel kind of guy. It's where did you come up with that?
Well, back I don't know how PG-13 this will be, but back when I was you're gonna have to learn how to edit because some of this stuff you're probably gonna have to edit out. No, just kidding.
No, we won't. It's all going on there.
Back when I was still living in Hawaii, when I was like in my late 20s, early 30s, I was a whore. I had just broken up with my boyfriend, who I was in a serious relationship, committed relationship. We lived together, and then we broke up, and he moved out, and then I had the apartment all to myself, and I just turned into a massive whore. And so when I would, like I said, I was involved in that show, Shock or Shakedown.
Yeah.
And then when I would show up on the set to film these skits that we were going to use in the show, Shock or Shakedown, I would come on the set and I'd be like, well, I got a confession to make. And I would go, I had sex last night. And one of the guys started going, Nasty Nate. And it just stuck.
Oh, okay.
So that's where that came from, And then when I made my YouTube channel, I was like, Nasty Nate. Only I said Nasty Nathaniel. That's my full name. But,
I was looking for my sunglasses earlier, and I just found them. They're right here. He's got. They look pretty good on him.
Yeah, and I'm taking them home with me too. I'm gonna cuddle with him at night.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I could not find them. He's quite the character. Let me tell you. So, anyways, do you consider yourself a civil rights activist?
I do. Yeah,
You do?
I do.
Okay.
And
do you consider yourself a naked civil rights activist?
Today, I do.
Today? Oh.
Today, I do.
Well, we're loving it, man. That's great. We're so glad you're on our
Well,
channel.
and I'm glad you asked me that question because really, there's been a lot of criticism. Well, there's a lot of people that support it, but there's also a lot of people that question, like, why audit a private business? Why audit a religious organization?
Right.
And my response has always been, and will always be, that look, when I audit a private business, whether it be a Chick-fil-A or a Denny's or whatever, Tom's Takeout. Actually, I haven't audited them yet. But anyways, where am I standing? Where are we standing? On a public sidewalk, which is a traditional public forum, which is protected by the First Amendment. So this argument that, well, wait a minute, it has to be a government agency. No, it doesn't. Filming in public doesn't just apply to government. The First Amendment doesn't just protect your right to be able to record government officials. It protects your right to be able to film in public.
Right.
I mean, freedom of the press.
Exactly.
So and as far as like churches, I know that's kind of a whole nother different category, but I'm going to quote something that First Amendment Rights said, who's my Southern California auditing partner. And one of the things that she said was, when you audit a church, that's really a true testament of the First Amendment. Because they have their right to practice freedom of religion, but there's so many of them are so quick to stomp on our right to be able to practice photography in a public space. So,
it's true. Yeah. And it's like anything else. If you have freedom of speech, it's all speech. You can't choose words that aren't free to speak. You have to. Freedom of speech is freedom of speech.
You can't box freedom of speech.
No, you can't. And that's what they're trying to do in this country.
They are.
And speaking of which, What do you think about the current situation with Riverside County Accountability? That he was recently arrested at his home.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It was unbelievable. It's really you know, I don't want to say too much about it because obviously there's an active investigation going on and he's still in custody, him and all the other 7 individuals that were arrested. I like Riverside.
Yeah, so do we.
He's doing a lot of good work down south and beyond. And plus he's very handsome, but that's probably a separate video. But anyways, you know, I think...
He is.
Right now, he's looking at some serious charges, and I think that.
Do you know what the charges are?
I do.
You don't want to say.
I don't want to talk about that too much. I mean, it's a validated question. It's a legitimate question, and it's very relevant to what's going on right now.
Yeah.
I think though that you know, for example, I'll say this. You know, there's certain types of audits, what I like to call high-risk audits, and then there's low-risk audits. Like, for example, auditing a car dealership would be what I would consider a low-risk audit. You might get some Darren, some salesmen might give you a hard time. They might call the cops, which sometimes they do. But for the most part, it's typically a low-risk audit. But there's other types of audits that are a little bit more high-risk. And I'm not going to give examples, but Riverside was doing some of those high-risk audits. Not saying he was wrong. I'm not saying that at all. But when you do the high-risk audit, you know, when you attack the government, you know, they're going to come after you.
Yeah, they're.
And you can be totally in the right, which I believe Riverside is totally in the right. He is well within his constitutional rights to do what he is doing and was doing. But you know what I mean? There's people in the high ups that don't like it, and they're going to come after you. And I think that's what's happening right now with Riverside and the other 7 individuals that were arrested.
Oh,
I think they're the target of a bigger picture, you know. And I just I mean, I'm not a religious person, but I'll give him a nasty prayer. You know, I hope that when he goes for his arraignment on Monday, that they set a bail that he'll be able to make, and then he can get out. And message to you, Riverside, when you get out on bail, not if you get out, but when you get out on bail, I'm going to take you to the Mission Inn in downtown Riverside, and I'm going to buy you a margarita.
Me too.
No, but it's just going to be me in Riverside.
Just Riverside.
Yeah. I'm going to buy you a margarita, Riverside.
But later, you know, I can come down.
No, he's a good guy.
He is. That's really sad. I'm not happy about that situation. So, have you ever have you ever been trespassed? By the way, that's what I don't know if you've ever been trespassed.
I've had people try to trespass me.
They have tried.
I've had people try to trespass me.
But you haven't
during
been legally
audits.
trespassed from anywhere?
No. I mean, I've had, you know, obviously, you know, countless situations where law enforcement officers have showed up and they're, you know, like, well, just recently, me and Matthew the King did an audit of a particular location, which I'm not going to say the name of the place because the video is not out yet.
Oh, okay.
But we audited this place, and of course they lied to the cops and tried to say we went on their property, which of course we never did. And the cops were like, well, they want to issue a trespass, and I'm like, well, we never were on their property. You'll see when the video gets published, you know, 2,000 years from now. But you know, I've had situations like that where they tried to, you know, and a lot of people, you know, probably would have bowed down. I'm not saying other auditors, but just your average Joe Smo. Okay, here's my ID, yeah, and then they're trespassing.
Right. Yeah.
Obviously, with us, you know, we know better.
We're here to teach people their rights. But have you ever been arrested while auditing?
I haven't been arrested during, and that's kind of one of my claims to fame, for better or worse. Okay. I've never been arrested during an audit. I've been detained.
Oh, okay.
Probably the most best known example was what happened in Morro Bay. Showcase Audits has got a documentary about Morro Bay that's coming out really soon. Shout out to Showcase Audits.
Morro Bay.
I've been detained.
Were you arrested there in Morro Bay?
No, I was detained.
Detained.
I was put in handcuffs. I was, but I was never formally charged.
They let you out before
I was never booked. I was
Okay.
but I was arrested sneaking into Canada. So that's my First Amendment
Oh,
auditor's
you
claim
have
to
been
fame.
arrested. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
No more claim to shame.
Not during an audit, but sneaking into Canada.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to Canada Border Services Agency for that.
I was actually watching that live. And I was like, run, Nate, run! He didn't. They came after him.
I just wanted that handsome cop to cuff me up.
So how long were you in jail there? You went to jail in Canada.
55 days in jail, and then, well, actually 56 if you count the last day I spent in the immigration center before they brought me before my deportation hearing.
56 days?
So almost 2 months.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay, so.
Yeah, lots of handsome guys in the Canadian jail.
Really?
Yeah.
So did you drop the soap or anything?
Oh, hell yeah. You know it.
You were dropping
Did
it
you
on
even
purpose.
have to ask that question?
He was dropping the soap on purpose, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Leave a comment, would you? Because he's really like that.
Yeah, stick a Joe.
Stick a joy.
I think it's time for another Margie.
Okay.
Right
Hold
on.
on. You might have to cut to get another Margie. Now I have some other questions here real quick.
Mm-hmm.
What are
cut. I think we should actually put a sheet right here, a white sheet to diffuse the light. It's really screwing up the lighting. It's starting to come across his body. Excuse me. I can just get a sheet and some.
Are you going to cut the video?
Cut.
Yeah.
Okay.
For fuck's sake. Excuse me.
Cut mine.
How do you think it's going?
Refilling the.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just top yourself.
Is it recording?
And action. All right, picking back up, fix the lighting issues, hopefully.
Yes, sir. Here we are. Again, I have some more
I gotta put my
questions.
sunglasses on. You can't see me without my. There we go.
So there's 24 hours in a day. What's margarita time? You're always talking about margarita time.
69 hours in a day.
Oh, there's 69 hours?
Yeah, well, in my world there is.
Oh, okay. Well then, let me change.
Is your phone on?
Let me change the. Would you turn mine on, damn it?
It's going.
Is it on? Is mine on? Oh.
That's what the action meant.
Oh.
Did you hit play on mine?
No, I hit
This
record.
is like candid
Oh, okay.
shots. Yeah.
These are just, sorry folks, we're not trying to do any, let me just tell you real quick, this is Auditing Live, we're not trying to do like any kind of professional interviewing shows or anything, this show is for you. This show is about you. This show is for the auditors and the auditing community. So, we all get to know each other. This guy's a little wisecracker, and you're going to get to know that right now. How would you ever find out what a cool dude this was? He's our friend, so we already know. But you would never know.
I've got a great body.
Unless we interviewed him right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you can hit the thumbs up and thank us, okay? Because we got the interview with Nasty Nathaniel. Me and Matthew the King. How much better does it get? Let me ask you, man.
And I'm almost naked.
And he's almost naked. I mean, gee. And we're not even paying him. We might. Maybe later. So I'm going to ask him a few other questions, and these are like kind of quick fire questions, so you don't really have time to think about it, Mr. Nasty Nathaniel, but you already told us who you think the best auditor out there is. Who would be your least favorite? Would it be an auditor? Would it be a troll?
Least favorite auditor? I do have a least favorite auditor, but I'm not going to say, because I really don't want to, and I'm not trying to do a cop-out. I mean, there are certain auditors in the 1A community that I don't like, but I don't
Just
talk
tell us
about them
why.
publicly, because to me it's like we're all in this together, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I don't think that bashing I see other auditors bashing other auditors, like certain people from Colorado that I'm not going to mention names, and I just don't think that's productive to the bigger picture.
I agree. Okay.
You know. So.
All right. Who would you like to trade places with for a day?
Gene Simmons of KISS.
Okay. What's your guilty pleasure?
Handsome alerts.
Handsome alerts. Okay. What's the biggest risk you've ever taken?
Doing audits in the Philippines.
doing audits in the Philippines. How many audits have you done in the Philippines?
Well, I've got a whole playlist.
Oh, well, we better watch it.
If you go to my channel, there's a playlist called Auditing Philippines, and I believe there's like 11 videos.
Wow.
And those are just the ones I published.
Wow, that's rad. Are you going to publish more?
Maybe. You'll just have
I
to
think
stay
you
tuned.
should.
Plus all the
I'm
other
gonna
different
be
types of
watching them.
videos that I filmed there.
Yeah, hopefully you're subscribed to Nasty Nathaniel's channel.
And hopefully you're not.
Because he's a legend. And if you're not, I might have to
Definitely.
get out Nasty Nathaniel's whip on you.
Ugh.
Oh, okay. What's the best compliment you've ever gotten?
Best compliment I've ever gotten?
Besides the ones from me. I mean.
Oh, wow. This is not going to be a quick response because I'm going to have to think about it.
Okay, we'll move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Best compliment you ever got. Keep that in the back of your mind. We want an answer to that one. We'll come back to this one in a moment. What never fails to make you laugh?
You, Katie Kim.
Me? Ah! Bam! Right on. I always make him laugh. He makes me laugh too. What's the worst piece of advice you've ever gotten?
The worst piece of advice I've ever gotten is from that snob from Hawaii Lower Ridge, Honolulu, Hawaii. You know who you are. Your first name starts with a T. Your last name starts with a D. And was when you told me to get a credit card and sign up for a mileage. Well, not signing up for a mileage program with an airline, but get a credit card and start charging everything. And I went into debt. Fortunately, I'm not in debt anymore, but that was the worst piece of advice I ever got.
Oh, wow. You got that one right away. Something you wish you were better at.
Something I wish I was better at. This is kind of going to be a serious response. Sometimes I wish I was more... Sometimes I wish I didn't always think about myself, which is probably why I'm single, besides from the fact that I'm a fat ass. But sometimes I really wish that I would spend more time thinking about the other person. Because, when I'm dating somebody, I can be very generous. I'll take them out to nice restaurants, buy them, not Costco margaritas, but like $20 steakhouse margaritas. So, I can be generous in that regards. One thing I think I lack is sometimes I don't think about the fact that, I'll be like, hey, Parker Osmond, let's go to a bar. And he'll be like, I'm not really into bars. And I'll be like, come on, let's go have a margarita. And then they'll begrudgingly go. And yeah, I might take them, I'll buy the drinks or but I'm not stopping and thinking about the fact that, not everybody wants to hang out in a bar and drink margaritas. Some people want to hang out in a bar and drink martinis, so,
right.
I wish sometimes I need to, stop and think about how the other person feels and the fact that, hey, I don't want to go out to a bar. I just want to stay home with you and watch the Blues Brothers. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good way to do it, Different strokes for different folks. So you got to go along,
Todd Bridges.
Yep, that's right. Who's your childhood crush?
My childhood crush is actually a woman.
A woman?
A woman, yeah. Before I decided that I liked, this is before I went from VWs to Audis. My childhood crush was, remember the show Gidget with Sally Field?
Yeah.
Sally Field played Gidget. I had the biggest crush on her as Gidget.
That's so funny.
By the time I discovered Gidget, Sally Field was, I think, probably already in her 40s. But
Sally Field.
that's old. I'm 45.
She's great.
Yeah.
She's made some great movies.
Sally Field, Gidget, yeah.
She was in Forrest Gump.
She was.
Yeah.
No, she's great. She was also in one of my favorite movies, which is also one of my favorite books, Not Without My Daughter, which she starred alongside Alfred Molina, which is also one of my favorite actors. He was in Boogie Nights as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Alfred Molina, Google him.
So it just came to my mind all of a sudden, I'm asking him all these questions, and this word came to my mind out of nowhere. It's Scientology. Is there anything you think about Scientology?
Where are you on the bridge?
You should tell us.
Well, I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm going to ask you, where are you on the bridge?
I haven't taken that. I'm not on the bridge?
Well, I'll say this about Scientology. I was
crossed that bridge a long
the
time
first
ago.
person in the First Amendment auditing community to do First Amendment audits of Scientology. Now there's like tons of people that are jumping on the bandwagon and doing it, which is totally cool. But when I first started doing obviously there had been people like the Anonymous movement and the old guard that went and protested Scientology,
Yeah.
but no one had done First Amendment audits of Scientology. So when I started doing these First Amendment audits of Scientology, like they were totally confused, you know. And I experienced fair game.
What, people in the Scientology?
Yeah, because they had never experienced that.
So
before.
what do? Come out?
They would come out, they'd follow me. I experienced some, like, they called my work and tried to get me fired, and they tried to get me kicked out of the place where I was living, but I live with good old mommy, so that ain't gonna happen.
Wow.
So it was,
really?
yeah.
Dang.
So
They go after you.
when I started auditing Scientology, it was a different time. They just weren't used to that.
Okay. So, Matthew the King has a couple of questions right here. And then we'll get your final words after that. So here's Matthew the King right here. He's with Auditing Live, which is our
This will probably be
new
edited,
channel.
Trade places.
or maybe not. Ooh,
Maybe not.
I'm gonna cross my legs since Matthew's sitting
That way
next
I
to
can
me.
come over here and see how it looks. Right on.
Yeah, I wanted to clarify a few things for. So the trolls have been emailing me because they knew we were going to do this interview, and they wanted to ask you a question. And the most popular question they wanted to ask was, it's actually what they needed clarification on. See, they think all auditors belong in one basket and we're all bad. So they're trying to lump good auditors and bad auditors. Earlier we were talking about who's a bad auditor, but clearly, we're under the impression that there's good auditors and bad auditors. There's people that need to learn from, mistake and so forth, but how would you explain the difference to them?
Well, I think the biggest thing is you can't put everyone in the same basket. Just like you can't put all fruits in one basket. Apples go in one basket, bananas go in the other basket, pears go in another basket, handsome alerts go in the 69 basket. So the thing of it is like, I think what a lot of the trolls do, not all, but some, they lump this whole frauditor thing where they put every First Amendment auditor into the frauditor basket. Which to me, the word frauditor, I still don't really understand that word because, like, who am I defrauding? American Express, come on. But I think that there are, again, like I mentioned earlier, there are certain First Amendment auditors that I don't like. I'm not going to call out anybody because that's not what my channel is about. It's not what I'm about. They know who they are, and the trolls know who they are. But like. You can't put everyone in the same basket, because some people belong in the the fruit basket, other people belong in the meat container. So it's just you have to. But I don't think that they're really looking to. I don't think a lot of trolls, maybe hashtag not all. I don't think they really distinguish between the two. They don't like auditors and. That's just that. You could be the nicest, most sweetest auditor. You could be like Katie Kidman, and they're still gonna, troll you. So, whatever. They do what they do. We do what we do, and that's fine.
Makes sense. And speaking of lumping everyone in the same basket, I've noticed that quite a few people in the 1A. There's varying opinions on what I'm about to discuss within our community. Is what I'm trying to say. And it's the phrase "ACAB" or "all cops are bad." So what's your take? What's your take on that?
I don't think all cops are bad. God, I'm gonna get bootlicker stamped all over my face for saying this, but I don't give a shit. I'm gonna say it anyways. I think that most cops are probably in it for the right reasons, but it's the small percentage of the ones, the bad apples, that create the bigger picture. So you can have 97% of the cops out there. I'm not saying that's the right ratio, but let's say 90% of the cops are good. They're in it for the right reasons. They're not committing crimes. They're following the law. but it's that 3%, I put 2 fingers, 3, that make up the bigger picture. And that 3% ruin it for the 97% that are in it for the right reasons. I mean, I've been doing this almost 9 years, and most of my encounters with law enforcement have been positive. But unfortunately, it's that small percentage of the negative encounters, you guys know who you are,
Yeah.
that shed a negative light on all cops. I am not a cop hater. I don't hate cops. You know, I've never hated cops. I don't like bad cops.
Right.
But even good cops don't like bad cops, whether they'll say it publicly or not. But, you know, that's kind of where I stand on it. My channel is not about hating cops. My channel is about exercising. It's a First Amendment audit is an exercise of rights,
Right.
and that's what I'm doing. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. That's what we're doing.
That's right.
And everyone else, you know, including Riverside, who is so
That's what we're
handsome.
doing.
So yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad we got those couple
So-
of points clarified for both the trolls
That's
and,
what we're doing here.
and
Maybe
so
then
forth.
we're gonna light this candle right here for Matthew's birthday.
Oh,
It's his
yeah.
birthday and we didn't get to
Matthew
celebrate.
is 19 years old today.
So he's 19. So we all want to wish him a happy
tried to-
birthday.
Hey, you're
I
not
tried
old enough to
to,
drink.
I don't like
What
the
are you doing?
attention, but they outvoted me. It's a democracy here, so.
Yeah,
We'll go
we
with
got
it.
him a cake and it has his name on it. It says Matthew on
This
it.
isn't Kyrgyzstan.
You
here.
see? So say happy birthday to Matthew.
Yeah, we're live from
Blow the
Turkistan.
kiss.
We're live from Turkistan currently. Glad to be with you all.
These two are my buddies. They're great people.
It's
We
getting
want-
wax on the cake. Do I blow it out or?
We want to get his.
Oh yeah, we kept demanding things from you. Speaking of democracies, we'd like to give you the floor. Any closing thoughts? Anything you'd like to bring attention to? Any shout outs? Anything of that nature?
As far as shout outs, definitely would like to shout out Denver Metro Audits. I know a lot of different people have different opinions about him, but Denver Metro Audits, I think, is the top auditor on the scene right now. And not only that, he's been a great friend to me. Both him and Sweet Tea have been, you know, they've opened their home up to me, and I really enjoy working with DMA and Sweet Tea. I definitely would like to shout out DMA, definitely First Amendment Test, who's my biggest influence in the First Amendment auditing community. I'd like to shout out Riverside, because he's a great auditor and he's so handsome, mainly the handsome part. But you know, really, I'd just like to end this by saying that I'm a soul survivor. I'm not the greatest auditor, I'm not the worst auditor, but I'm a soul survivor, you know, based on everything I've been through since I've been in the auditing community and before the auditing community. I'm the type of guy like, you know what, you can strip me of all my clothes, all my money, you can drop me from a plane in the desert, and I'll come back with a new car. Sammy Hagar, I stole that line from you. All right.
Yeah.
And cut.